All right, everybody, welcome to another live stream on Facebook and YouTube. I'm Tony Babarino. I'm an Orange County real estate agent. I live and work in Irvine and everywhere around it. And I'm just here to bring another guest to bring some more value, information, education to help you guys out there on all kinds of topics, just to make sure you're staying up to date, you're being informed. And if you have any further questions, you can always reach out to me or my guest, and the information will be in the content below as well. So everybody knows we got to start with money. Unless you have all cash, and even if you do, you may want to get a loan. But for the rest of us, you're going to need to borrow money. So I'm not your first best friend. I'm your second best friend. Your first best friend is my guest today. This is your best friend right now. Lynn, hi. You're the money person.
Hello.
Okay, Lynn, please, so people know who you are, because a lot of people don't know our names and faces. Can you talk a little bit about you and your company so people know like who you are? Just tell them about you.
Hi, Tony. Nice to see you again this morning. Again, my name is Lynn Nelson with Finance of America, and I have been a senior mortgage advisor for the past 30 years, and I'm very blessed and honored to have been able to help thousands of people get into homes, purchasing, and of course, refinance with these low interest rates today. A little bit about Finance of America is we are a nationwide company. We are one of the top 10 loan closers in the United States. So we do quite a bit of business. Just through last month, we were in the $60 billion of closed loans. I'm out of the Irvine branch. I'm also local to Southern California. I'm off of the 5 freeway, the 555 corridor. So I'm also a local loan officer. And like I said, I've been doing this for 30 years and will continue to do so and love to answer any questions you may have.
Excellent. Well, but I think Lynn's trying to say, in my languages, they're really good about getting people qualified. And if you're not qualified just yet, I always like to tell people, someone like Lynn, either depending on your qualifications, you're going to get a yes, or yes if you ... do these things. So sometimes your path has to be cleared a little bit, and for the rest of us, it just has to be defined, because you don't really know if you can afford to buy a house until you talk to, I would think, to your two favorite people is your lender, like Lynn, and then also a CPA. You know, I mean, it never hurts to have a CPA, but you got to have a lender. So that's the reason why I bring someone on like Lynn, so we can talk to you guys. Now, we're not talking just to first-time buyers. We're talking to everybody, but especially first-time buyers, especially now with the whole virus situation. There are people probably thinking, oh man, I don't know if I can do anything. So Lynn, can we just cut right to it? Could you just give people a generalized list of what things they would need to get started? What makes the most sense? So what can they do to get started? What documents
Sure.
they need, ID,
Yeah.
just without overwhelming people. Just if they were to provide, say, the top 5 things, that would be like, oh, great start. What would that be?
Yeah, thanks, Tony. There's a few things that we look at whether it's a first-time home buyer or any buyer. Of course, income is very important. And in today's environment, you do have to be employed, and you have to be employed from beginning to end of the transaction. So unfortunately, those who are temporarily laid off or furloughed, they're just going to kind of have to wait. But I recommend 100% getting yourself ready, because at some point you will go back to work or that you'll get a new job. So credit's very important in today's environment. But most important item that we need to look at that's important in every single loan transaction is your credit. And I tell people say, well, my lease isn't up till December, so I don't want to run my credit now. But you don't know what your credit's going to look like. People say, oh, I check TransUnion, on that free credit report. And that's a good guidance for you to let you know what it looks like. But the mortgage credit report is a little bit different, and we check all 3 bureaus. So it is very important to check credit. You will also find that the best interest rates are offered to the best credit. So there's credit all the way down into the high 580s. And those are very difficult to get loans to the mid 600s, 700s to 800. So if you have an 800 credit score, you're going to be offered the best price. If you're somewhere in the middle, then we, need to look at what we can do to probably improve that. And that's why you want to run it ahead of time. And then lastly, the thing that we need to look at from credit to employment is assets. What is needed in order to get into a transaction? Can I have gift funds? Can my mom help me or my family help me? Can my next door neighbor help me? And the answer to that question is almost on any transaction, it can be your funds or gift funds. And what are qualified gift funds are funds from a family member. But the most important thing about assets is we have to be able to document where the assets are coming from. So if you have cash under the mattress, you want to put that in your bank account now so it will season, because we can't use cash on hand. And if you're going to get gift funds, just prepare the gift donor that we're going to have to document that they actually provided the gift to you. And there's different forms of documentation that will be required.
Yeah, we don't want mattress money because there are people, I'm not saying who and where, but there are people who will get cash, and I won't say how and where, but generally speaking, they will get cash and they will save it. And they say, hey, Tony, I want to buy that $600,000 condo. Here's $200,000 in cash.
Right.
Oh, no, you can't do that. Maybe
Yeah.
in 1942 you could, but that was a long time ago. But today, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't know everything because I'm not the lender, but I like to think a good rule of thumb is unless your lender tells you, don't do or touch anything. Anything. Hey, Grandma, you want to give me $30,000? Wait, let me call my lender. Mom, you want to pull out $100,000 of equity of your house and give it to me? Wait, let me call my lender. I like to think that's probably a good safe sentence. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, and it's not just assets, but I always tell my clients up front, I'm your confidant. You can tell me anything. Sometimes people will want to change jobs and they're afraid that they can't do that. But if it's in the same line of business, you can change jobs. People will want to get gift funds and they, just throw that in the bank account. Like I said, if it's a check, we can document it. They'll have to get the cash front and back. They may need to get the donor's bank statement. So that's why I like to have these conversations up front, what's expected. And not only do I tell them verbally, but we do put it in writing. We remind them, don't buy anything, don't buy a vehicle, don't quit your job,
Right.
don't go from being employed to self-employed. Because there's a lot of things that could disrupt the qualification. But most people are very forward and open today, especially in this environment. And that's why it's really important to get prepared, whether you're looking to purchase next year. I mean, if people are looking to purchase next year, I say run your credit now. Because, truly, there could be a difference in what loan program or interest rate if your credit score is 680 versus 740. And, and we have those programs, but it's important to know what your options are.
Especially at early as possible. I think, in
Yeah.
my opinion, I've been watching my own credit since 1990, and I've seen the forms change and stuff. And I got to tell you, in my opinion, nobody really knows what happens to the credit score. I mean, they have their own way. I know that, for example, myfico.com is supposed to be the FICO company, and then the 3 credit bureaus have their own calculations, and they also use the myFICO. So since there's so many variables in place, it just makes sense to, one, call a lender like you, for example. Number 2, they should get all the documents together, answer whatever questions you may have, because when they pull documents, there may be some questions you have that they need to get answered so that they can have all their ducks in a row. Then, as a last step, possibly as an option, then pull the credit so that you can give them answers that will work for them. And I know there are people that resist.
Right.
But if you're going to borrow money to buy $1 million house,
Or $500,000 or
$500,000, yeah.
$300,000.
You want someone to
Yeah.
hand over money. You want someone to hand over money.
Right.
They have to look at your employment and verify. There's a lot of things I know you go through because the lenders will lend money to people who can afford it. This isn't
Right.
2005 where you can just say what you made. But that said, that I think people put, and this there's no proof of this, but I think people put too much weight on pulling a credit. I do know that I believe it's like a Consumer Protection Bureau, a branch of the government, where they posted. I think no, don't quote me. I think it was like January 2016, I believe, where once you do a pull on the credit for a mortgage, you can go in, a couple of more times and it doesn't affect your score because somehow, some way, somebody figured out, well, wait a minute, someone's going to be getting a mortgage. Why should we be dinging them? We want them to buy a home because they pay taxes and they're going to buy
Yes.
other things.
And
So
that's
there's,
right, Tony. If you pull your credit, a couple of times in the same month, that it's not going to affect your score.
people
If you're
know, they
pulling
get
it
it.
month after month and I'll have people who say, "Hey, I have a credit report. I can't buy till next year. And, can you take a look at my pay stubs? And here's my credit report." I will gladly do that. I work with them within their parameters. Just I can't actually issue an approval. I can't run it through our automated approval system without running their credit report. But I've been doing this for 30 years, so I'm very confident on looking at that credit report, looking at their income, and giving them ideas of what this can buy, what their payments will be. But sometimes there's little things in the credit report that you don't see, and I'll think, oh, this should be able to go conventional with 3% down, and then I run it through, and right now 3% down is a high risk loan. And what used to get approved maybe last year, I won't get approved. So I might have to switch it to a different loan program, such as FHA with 3.5% down. So those are the things that I like to discuss with them and tell them why it's important at some point to run that mortgage credit report. But
Well,
I
you
would
have more
definitely
options,
do
right?
them.
You have
Yeah.
more options than a bank would, wouldn't you? Like Chase, B of A, they have their thing, but someone like Finance of America, don't you guys have like way more product and options? That's why when you collect the data from the buyers, that you probably have more choices for them. Would that be fair to say?
Well, as a mortgage banker, which I am, we offer, the traditional loan programs, and this could go into a whole different conversation, but most of the loan programs, conventional FHA, VA, first-time home buyers, we offer all those. Some of the banks, Wells Fargo, BofA, I can't say whether they all do or don't, but a lot of times they don't offer the down payment assistance loan programs that we will offer. They don't have the ability to broker. Say I have, a foreign national, somebody who doesn't meet the criteria of a traditional home mortgage. The bank statement programs, which are coming back, they kind of went away in March, with all of this employment situation. But I do have, some options, which is why I choose to work for a direct lender and a mortgage banker. And I can tell you there's a difference between a banker versus a broker. A banker means that, Finance of America, our underwriters, they work with all Finance of America loan consultants, versus when I do have to broker, I let the client know, I let the agents know I am brokering and it's for a particular reason, which means it could take a little bit longer, which means I don't necessarily have, the same relationships I do with, the underwriters at Finance of America. So the majority of our loans do go through Finance of America. We are direct. We offer lots of products. We have waivers with Fannie, Freddie, FHA, VA. People say, does it have to go to FHA or VA? The answer is no. When we do a first-time home buyer product, such as CalHFA or Chenoa, we underwrite those. So we're not having to send them to a middleman to underwrite them. So, it can make the process go smoother and be able to close transactions in a shorter period of time versus some other people.
As an added bonus, unlike a bank, you're available on the phone 7 o'clock at night. That buyer goes, Lynn, I have a question. It's 8:30 p.m. What can I do for you? You try calling B of A, you get a recording. I mean, I don't know if they're ever going to change that, but it is nice to have the access, because those first-time buyers, and I know some of you are watching this as a replay, thinking, oh, I don't know if I can do this. being able to call someone like Lynn, there's a certain comfort in that. And we know as a first time buyer, especially, being feeling more comfortable than not is not a bad idea. You probably have less arguments at home, and it'll be easier to resolve things in the beginning because banks, they do fine and they're busy with a lot of things. But Lynn writes loans, and you need a loan, and you want to have that attention. So if less stress and a little more attention is a perk for you, call Lynn. If you
Well,
want a friendly realtor, call me.
and Tony, just like you work hours, what we have to do is accommodate
Yes.
people's work schedule. And I
Yep.
raised children as a mortgage consultant, and even I would be honest with the client if they call me at 6 o'clock and say, "Listen, I'm just sitting down for dinner. Do you mind if I call you back in 45 minutes?"
And we
I would
do.
be honest and tell them. And just as I call somebody at 4 o'clock and they say, "Listen, I've got a lot of emails to get done. Do you mind if I call you at 6 o'clock tonight?" Absolutely. I'm available weekends. I can't speak for everybody, but I really enjoy what I do. And that's
Me too.
something that's key, is that you have to be wanting to take those phone calls. And so that, to
Correct.
me, this is my most important piece of business, is my
Yeah.
phone.
Yep.
All my family friends know, I answer my phone calls. And like, if I'm at a dinner and I'm expecting something, I let them know, "Hey, I have my phone here at the dinner table, but I'm expecting a phone call," and I take it and I walk away. Or if I wasn't expecting they're calling me at dinner, I say, "Hey, I'm at dinner. I'll call you back." But it's
Even texting.
important to be flexible.
Yep.
And texting, of course. You
I'm,
find out what their communication is, and a lot of people just like to text. So uh,
yep.
I'm
I
a
can attest to that. I
yeah,
texted you, and you're on a golf course, and you
yeah,
actually text me. I mean,
yeah,
that's convenience, folks.
right,
Text your lender at 2 in the afternoon on a Saturday or 8 o'clock at night, and if they don't answer, well, there you go. Good luck to you. I mean, I'm sure it's fine,
right.
but if Lynn's on the golf course and she's on the ninth hole, and she takes my text messages, that's access. I think what we're talking about is answers, access and answers, because people like, when I call other agents to check on the listing because my buyer is curious, 4 out of 5 times I get voicemail, and then I don't get a return phone call half the time. So I have to chase people down. So I know what it's like as having a taste of lack of access, which is why people like you and I, we answer our phone, we answer our text messages. That's like half the battle right there.
Yeah,
Communication, just like in any relationship, communication. That's why we're talking about this, because there are those, especially first time buyers, who don't know what to do. So if you could just we talked quite a few things. Could you really quick re-summarize some documents a buyer
yeah,
really should dig up and have on hand, what the buyer, what they have to dig up, and then anything superfluous, like if they have a 401k, is there a special form they got to get, or is there someone in human resources they would have to call to say, "Hey, I need this to back up my 401k." Could you kind of run through like a list so people have that? And again, this will be recorded so they can always play it back in case they miss something.
sure. And every loan's a little bit different, but primarily, first-time home buyers, we're going to be required to have a 2-year work history, and that 2-year work history might include that they graduated from college, and now that they have their first job, they just started in January of this year. That's a 2-year work history. So we have to have, in that particular case, I'd have to have their diploma to show that they graduated, and then I'd have their letter of employment from their job. But for most people, I'm going to need 2 years of W-2s. If you're self-employed, I need 2 years of tax returns. We're going to want, a full month of pay stubs, 2 months of bank statements. If they're going to be borrowing against their 401k or liquidating their 401k or an IRA or stocks or bonds, we have to provide not only the documentation, which would be the quarterly statement or 2 months of bank statements, and show where the money came from, but then we also have to show the liquidation. So we'll have to have them go back in after they liquidated and show the balance after the fact. So there's a lot that goes into what is required, in order to obtain a loan. But like I said, the one important thing is that credit, doing that credit check. I just spoke with the first time buyer the other day, told me all he has is one credit card, but he's not looking to purchase next year. I said, your job is to get 2 more pieces of credit, become an authorized user on your parents' account, go apply for a Best Buy card, Target card, something, because, sometimes you won't actually get 3 mortgage credit scores if you only have one piece of credit. It also is going to limit you to potentially not being able to get a particular loan, maybe a conventional loan, if you don't have 3 pieces of credit. And there's alternative credit for first-time home buyers. I do have some first-time home buyers who don't have credit. They're looking to buy in 3 months, no time to establish credit. So then we have to get their landlord rating. We might need to get 12 months canceled checks showing that they paid their landlord. We'll have to get information from the utility companies to show that they've been paying their Verizon wireless bill, their Edison bill, whatever insurance bills. I've had to get insurance bills. So there is definitely things that we can use for documentation. But as you can see, that's why it's important to do this early as you can.
Yes, there's going to be a little bit of work up front. What I tell buyers is, I say, first of all, I'm not a lender, but the biggest hump, the biggest, oh, geez, you ever get out of a buyer is the lender asks for 2 years tax returns, 2 months of bank statements, your W-2, stuff that you should already have. And if you don't, your accountant probably has copies. So sometimes I have to be a little bit tough. And I mean this with love to the buyers is, if you want to buy a house and you want to borrow $200, $300, $400, $500, $600,000, you really have to get over I got to get that paperwork. Well, yeah, it's just one speed bump. Once you get all that stuff available with the lender and they have questions they're going to ask you and you need to provide the answers, get it all done. So this way, that the lender, you could go ahead and process it. So you can say, hey, congratulations, you could buy a house at this price point. Just go find the house. It's one job. It's not hard physically. It's just the mental. Where are my taxes? Where are my W-2s? I got to pull my bank statements. Oh my God, I got to run the credit. Well, would you like to borrow $400,000 from someone you never met or never will meet? And they're going to see you on paper. So one of the things I like to do is, let's say Mr. and Mrs. Buyer contact you. You give them a little checklist. You don't get anything for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days, because I don't want them to lose on a house that they wish they got in time, because time is of the essence. Better to be prepared and find a home than to find a home and not be prepared. So I would say, hey guys, how is it going? Did you get the lender everything? Oh, well, we got our taxes, but we don't know how to pull our bank statements down off the PDFs. Okay. Would you like me to tell you how to do it? Because I try to be an advocate for them to kind of, move the kids along and, gently and politely. Because, if they don't want to do it, I just say, if you don't want to do it, it's okay. But it's funny how the only hard part for a buyer is getting all the information. You have to call your human resources and say, hi, I need a letter of proof of employment. It's for buying a house. And believe me, human resources understands. Human resources will give you that letter. I'm sure they got something already said. They just got to plug in your name and the date and how much you get paid. And for those of you who are first-time buyers, a little squeamish about telling Lynn about how much money you have and don't have and the credit, if someone's going to surrender a lot of money over to you, and there's one time you have to reveal it to somebody, you reveal it to Lynn so the people with the cash can see what you really have and don't have and what you're capable of. Because if you're asking for money, you have to reveal this stuff. So you don't want to kind of hold off and say, I'm still looking for it. You know where your bank statements are. You know where your tax statements are.
I think you covered it
know,
in a nutshell.
right?
Yeah.
And that's it. I mean, I'm not trying to sound like someone's daddy, but I'm just being honest with people. I don't want to be flowery and sugary. It is what it is. So when I send them to you, you give them the list. I follow up and see how they're doing. Maybe they want to talk to me about something. And I know what not to say is, you know what? That's a good question. Let me get Lynn on the phone. Let's the 3 of us have a conversation, because you and I would be like a team for somebody. So they can talk to us in confidence, because our job together is to make sure, A, they can get money that's legitimate where they won't, spend up to here. We want to keep them down here. The water rises too high and they're buried in debt. We want to make sure they're getting something that's going to work. And then my job is to help them find a house, make sure we're picking one that's good for them, and that we go through escrow and go through our contingencies to make them happy. So you and I work together on their end goal, which is buy that house on a price that works, on a payment plan that works. So they're going to pay to live somewhere. Why not pay for their own house? And this is why I always say you are a buyer's best friend first. Then when they give you everything and they reveal themselves to you, everything they have, then I become their best friend. And then they buy a house. That's oversimplifying it. And I know there are people that sing a good song and dance, but if you really want the open truth and a discreet conversation, you and I can have that conversation with them, because I think everybody really wants the truth, and you and I are prepared to give it to them, but we're also sensitive. So, Lynn, any last minute points you want to throw out there for people? Any particular considerations when
No,
they're first time buyers?
I think you covered it, Tony. I
Okay.
think that the trick is just having that communication, and if they're not entirely ready now, that's fine. I always tell people it's a process, and the process for some could be very quick. They could have everything at their fingertips. The process for someone else could be, you know what, I'm going to start this new job in 2 months. I want to wait till then. And for someone else, it could be, they're just not ready right away. But they'll
Right.
be. But when they are ready, let's just move and
Just
let's.
have a conversation. I tell people, literally, last couple of buyers, I talk to them and say, well, have you talked to a lender yet? Well, no, we're just looking right now. The first thing out of my mouth, and folks, if you contact me, I'll prove it to you. I will say, well, just because I want to make sure you're not setting yourself up for disappointment and you're actually setting yourself up for success, maybe you should have a conversation with a lender. And for example, I would refer you to them and say, look, can we just have a conversation with the lender so that you have some sense of what you need to do so you're not surprised later? Because if they wait, and they get excited about a house, then you tell them, I need this. It could seem overwhelming.
The worst thing is if they didn't have that conversation with me up front, that they find out that payment, either A, they don't qualify, or B, it's higher than what they really wanted. So
you don't want surprises.
Yeah. So that's conversation first and foremost.
I agree. And I want to put this out there. When people talk to me or talk to you, folks, we are easy to talk to. I mean, seriously, you could call someone like Lynn, you can call someone like me. And even if you're just a little curious, I don't want you to feel like it's a trap. Like you talk to us, now you have to work with us. We are open. We're here talking about it. We don't get anything out of this. We just want to share. And I bring someone on like Lynn because I want to show you guys that, a lot of us, we really love what we do and we care. So if I'm talking to you in a couple of days, whoever's out there watching the recording, and you say, well, I don't really know any lender. I was going to go to Bank of America. First thing out of my mouth, would you like to have a conversation with Lynn before you do that? Just have a conversation. It's okay. And you know what? You might find you really like Lynn, and you might like the access you have. You might like the fact that she seems like she either has all the answers or can get all the answers. I don't know everything, but I know how to find out. And I'm very easy to reach too. So if you're looking for people that are easy to reach, that truly care, because I think I can speak for Lynn on this, our best marketing plan is we actually care. So, and of course we care. We do this for a living, but if you care, the money will come later. So we lead with care. We really are paying attention. We really are listening. That's why we put this out there. I want people to hear Lynn's voice. This is why we've been on for like half an hour, because I'm excited to share certain people. And Lynn is one of those people I'm excited to share. And when you have good people, why wouldn't you tell anybody, right? So Lynn, thank you for being on, guys. If you have questions.
Thank you, Tony, for having me today.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And I want them to call this number. I have it right there. There it is. Yeah. Guys, if you're shy, I know there's some people kind of shy with those first-time buyers, like, oh, I got to talk to a lender now. Text Lynn. You can hide behind a text. That's fine. I would say start with a text. Hi, Lynn. This is whoever. And you can ask a few questions. You're probably going to ask what the rates are, and the rates change a lot, and it depends on your qualifications, but feel free to reach out. I would say just take a shot. Call Lynn. Hi, Lynn. I saw your live stream. I have a few questions. I'm thinking about It starts right there. If you want to stop, folks, this is a hot topic for me. If you want to stop renting and throw your money away and make your landlord rich, you want to stop that and start working on your own wealth. You see the lady next to me? Where is she? Right there. That lady, that phone number, call her. Have a conversation. Matter of fact, you know who hopes you don't call Lynn? Your landlord. Your landlord is going, oh no, don't call Lynn. Keep paying me rent. You don't like the sound of that? Too bad. Keep paying rent or call Lynn. Call somebody. Call your real estate agent. You have a real estate agent you think is good looking or smart or popular. It doesn't matter. Call a real estate agent. Anyone you want, as long as you're happy and safe. I hope I can take care of some of you, but call a real estate agent, call a lender. You saw me and Lynn right here. We're easy to talk to. We're open. Call her number. I'm going to put it in the comments. It'll be on my webpage. So guys, if you want to get out of renting, at least those people who are renting, you want to get out of it, you can go to my website. I have information there. Here's my information as well. Reach out. And there's going to be a lot of things we haven't covered. Otherwise, this would be a 6-hour interview. But I wanted to at least put some fire under your feet. And it really irks me that people are still renting. There are some that have to. But those of you who don't have to, Lynn is your best friend. And I'm not kidding. Talk to her. And if you choose to work with her, great. Then call me. If you choose to work with me, great. We're really going to take care of you. Lynn, thank you very much. Thanks to Finance of America. And guys, yeah, feel free to comment, post questions. We're here to help. And no matter what, I hope you guys can find something you can afford, find something that you love. Lynn and I help people every day. And ultimately, it's all about you. It's about you, your family, and your home. And we're just here to help. And even if you already bought a home, you might want to go into a second home. Start with Lynn. Give her a call. I know you probably bought a home and you worked with a lender. Exercise possible options. We real estate agents go through that too as well. It's okay. There's plenty of business. We just want to be one of your possible choices. Thank you, Lynn, for being here. Everybody, we'll see you soon.
Have a good day.
Yes, and we'll be back with more topics, everybody. So we will see you again very soon. Thanks for being here. I'm Tony Babarino with RE/MAX Premier Realty. My office is in Irvine. I help everybody I can in Orange County. My phone number is below. We'll see you again. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and follow. We really appreciate it. We want to help a lot of people because we love what we do, and I hope it shows. Take care, and we will see you guys on the next video. Check out my webpage for upcoming events. Thanks.